Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
All right, we get close to the end of the Managing People versus Leading People series. And today we're on part 16 of 17. And the topic is in the area of responsibility. What's the difference between managers of people and leaders of people when it comes to responsibility? Just like all the other parts of this series, it's all about the mindset of a manager versus the mindset of a leader. When it comes to responsibility, managers take a reactive approach. And because they take a reactive approach, they tend to blame others. They avoid taking responsibility. Because if they took responsibility, they would actually be taking a proactive approach. But they avoid responsibility. And so, because of that, managers of people are those who transfer responsibility to others. Pointing fingers, looking for someone to blame, avoiding taking on a new challenge, avoiding saying whatever's wrong in their area is a result of their lack of leadership, that sort of stuff. That's the management mindset when it comes to responsibility. Leaders of people, on the other hand, they take a proactive approach. And one reason they take that proactive approach is because they know it's not about them, but it starts with them. That's relative to everything. So when something's not going right, whether it's in their own life, personal life, professional life, whether it's someone on their team, someone to their left or their right, someone above them, leaders of people blame themselves for not being able to help, for not being able to solve an issue. And therefore, they become proactive at trying to educate themselves, to learn, to work on their weakness in character, to work on their strengths in competency, and also to value the strengths of others and not be intimidated by that strength. As a result, they take responsibility. Leaders of people take responsibility in all areas of their life, at work and at home. They also realize they're either making things happen, good or bad, allowing things to happen, good or bad, or preventing things from happening, good or bad. That's high impact leadership, but that's leadership of people. Because there's a lot of things happening, and leaders understand I'm responsible for those things happening. If they're good things, I'm responsible for helping influence my team to make them happen. Or if they're bad things are happening, they realize I'm making that happen by not being a better leader. And then also they look out there and they allow things to happen. Managers of people allow bad things to happen. Leaders of people don't allow bad things to happen. Not without being addressed. Sometimes things are outside of their control, but even that, they take responsibility and become proactive so that those things stop happening, the bad things, but they allow the good things to happen. A lot of times, managers of people don't allow the good things to happen because they're avoiding responsibility. So they're causing bad things to happen. Or other people are, and they're allowing those people to make the bad things happen. And then that last section was leaders of people prevent things from happening, good or bad. And the reason I'm saying that is because they take responsibility for that. So relative to leaders of people, when things go wrong on the leader's watch, they know there's only one reason it's happened: lack of leadership. Managers of people, they don't look at it as lack of leadership. They look at it as someone else's fault. That's the difference. That's the responsibility piece. But leaders of people know responsibility lies with them, regardless of what's going on, regardless of whose area it's in. Leaders of people realize they have a role to play in the area of responsibility. Maybe they need to build a better relationship. Maybe they need to get someone some additional training and development. Maybe they need to get out of the office and get on the shop floor or get on the site where the work's happening and find out what's really going on from the people who know what's going on. As a high impact leader, they have the ability to influence everything in their family and their organization. And the reason they can do that is because they take responsibility for influencing those things. And these leaders always search their character first, knowing most likely their own character flaw had a direct or indirect impact on what went wrong. That's the key piece. Because not taking responsibility is a character flaw. But when you take responsibility, you realize whenever you can't accomplish what you want to accomplish, whether it's alone or through others, that there's some character flaw within us. That's why I read every single day about leadership. I'm striving to get better. And again, you probably heard me say this. I heard it from a book with the same title from Michael Josephson. He says, you do not have to be sick to get better. You don't have to be sick to get better. That's what we're talking about. So I'll share with you a couple of nuggets from John Maxwell in this area. He says, opportunity is lost when responsibility is neglected. So what John's talking about there, and I touch on this sometime, if you don't accept responsibility as a leader, if you want to ride over there on the manager side of things and manage people, I'm going to guarantee you, you're going to be left behind by a leader of people who is willing to accept responsibility. That goes back to what John says. Opportunity is lost when responsibility is neglected. You neglect responsibility, you're neglecting opportunity. John also says if you're willing to make choices that increase your sense of responsibility, you'll see a corresponding increase in your success. Good choices every day will help you to realize your potential someday. That's what John's saying there is huge, because when you increase your sense of responsibility, you're going to increase your success. Why? Because you're going to be more valuable to the leaders above you. Imagine if you're leading others, and you may very well be. When you look down, who's the most valuable people on your team? Those who are embracing and accepting responsibility, or those who are transferring responsibility and blaming others? It's common sense. So now look up. The person you report to, what do they see? Are you accepting responsibility, or are you transferring responsibility? Whenever something goes wrong, are you making excuses, or are you digging into the root cause of how am I responsible? What should I have done differently in advance? In advance of this issue that just came up? What will I do differently so that it doesn't happen again? Are you going to your leaders with that kind of mindset? I'm responsible. I'm responsible for finding out why it happened. And I'm responsible for figuring out my role in allowing it to happen. And I'm responsible for preventing it from happening in the future. So think about that. If you want to get ahead in life, at home, especially at work, regardless of your position or title, accept responsibility. Even if you think it's someone else's fault, accept responsibility. Figure out what part of whatever's going on you're actually responsible for. Because I guarantee you, every problem I've ever had, big or small, at work or at home, if I had any kind of problem I'm involved in, that's the key. I was always involved in it. If I'm involved in a problem, that means I have some responsibility. And really high impact leaders accept responsibility for what the others are doing. It frees them up to move forward, to work on the solution instead of dodging someone pointing fingers at them. When you point fingers at your team, you're teaching them to point fingers at you and everyone else. Leaders who blame others create a team that blames others. People do what people see. So I hope you got a couple of nuggets out of this session. And we'll be back in a couple of days together if you listen to this series, and we'll wrap it up. And the topic there is going to be on speed. So hope you have a great day. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.